Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what about the videos and paid requests, this time for Nate. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, what have you, feel free to send it. Either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, Nate wanted me to talk about Ninja Shadow of a Tear from 2013, also known as Ninja 2. Although, to be honest, you don't really need to see the first one. I mean, I think it's okay. It's kind of mixed on it, but you don't need to see it to understand what's going on in this film. All you need to know that Scott Adkins plays a guy named Casey. He kicks some ass. He was raised by folks. He was a ninja. Blah 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 happens. Got together with this lady. In this film, they're together. She's pregnant. He's running a dojo. Now, this is directed by Isaac Florentine, who has directed quite a few films with Scott Adkins, including Undisputed 2, among others. And because of the way he shoots the action, because he a lot of times gives the audience what they want, he's one of the better action directors out there. Now, Scott Adkins is one of those guys that I've been very impressed with what he's done in the past few years. Acid Man 1 and 2, Avengement, the sequel, The Death Collectors, and of course, this one back in 2013, to the point that he not only rivaling, but I think he's a bit better than Jason Statham. Don't get me wrong, Jason Statham, I liked Transporter 1 and 2, Crank 1 and 2, but Statham, other than The Mechanic Resurrection, I can't think of a film he's done in recent years that's been worth a crap. Hobbs and Shaw, I did not hate. I liked it, but it was average, mediocre. It should have been a lot better. The Maid, I wasn't big on. Expendables 3 sucked. I'm sure this new Expendables is going to suck. Don't care about The Maid Part 2. But Scott Adkins, like you said, I enjoyed One Shot. I enjoyed Accident Man and its sequel. I enjoyed these other movies. And this one, really, this is a showcase for Scott Adkins' skills. This is a calling card. You want to see what I can do physically? Here's Ninja Shadow of a Tear. That's the best way to describe this. Because the plot is as simple as hell. As simple as elementary math. What does 2 plus 2 equal? Equals Scott Adkins kicking the shit out of a lot of people for 80-some minutes. He got a pregnant wife. She gets murdered. He wants revenge. He kills and tits a lot of ass. The end. That's really what it is. It's not a complicated plot. It's a plot you've seen done many, many times before. The look of the film is fine for a direct-to-video film, but it still looks like a direct-to-video film. But it looks fine. The supporting cast, the lady that plays his wife, there's a guy he meets who is his driver, this Indian cab driver. They're there to serve the plot, and they do what they do. Kane Kasudi is in the film, Sho Kasudi's kid, and he was also in some of those Sho Kasudi films. Little kid back then. I definitely think he's the second best after Scott Adkins in this movie. And like I said, it's one of those things where you want to see the guy kick a lot of ass for 80-some minutes. This is the movie for you. He kicks ass. There's these muggers, he kicks their ass, and then kills their ass when he thinks that they had a hand in his wife's death. He kicks ass, escaped from jail. Before he kicks ass, before he's put in the jail, he kicks ass in a bar. He's kicked some ass in the jungle against soldiers. He has not one, but two, but three one-on-one fights at the end. And each one showcases just how swift, fast, and capable this guy is in terms of martial arts. And I will say, while I grew up with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I'm a bigger Van Damme fan in terms of his filmography, his presence, I like his voice, I like the way he does his martial arts scenes. I do think technically Scott Adkins is a better martial artist. This is me being fair. And also it seems that he's a easier guy to talk to. Like Van Damme, like he's calmed down with age, but at the same time, he still has that broken English. And then when he tries to talk, it just I don't think he's the best at explaining himself in conversations. Like I always see some interviews, and it's like, okay, I don't think he's really getting the question, or something's off about it. Well, Scott Adkins, on the other hand, has his YouTube channel where he interviews various action martial arts guys and gals and getting their input. You tell that Scott, he was a fan. He was a fan of these type of movies back in the day. He was a fan of films like The Perfect Weapon. He even said so when he talked to Jeff Speakman on his YouTube show. And so it's nice to see someone like that. The problem is, sadly, he was born in the wrong era. This is a guy that should have been born and making movies in the 80s to early 90s. Now, granted, would his success be Jeff Speakman, Thomas Ian Griffith, where not so much? Or, even though I think they made good movies, or would it be Jean-Claude Van Damme, Steven Seagal's success of the early 90s? I don't know. But it still seems like he was born in the wrong era, because sadly, a lot of martial arts movies, they all go direct to video. Very rarely, if any of them, go in the theaters. And if they do, it's either John Wick or some fight scenes incorporated into Mission Impossible films or in the like. And he's done so many of these now. He's kind of known as a straight to video guy, which is too bad. And if he does get a role in a theater, like a movie theater, high budget film, it's in a small part, like in Doctor Strange or whatever other movies he was in. Like I said, the movie itself is very simple, and I know Nate was asking me to compare it to canon films like American Ninja 1 and 2 and such. I mean, it's hard to compare in the fact of this would fit in the canon film era. It definitely would. I mean, there's not a lot of shootouts or car chases because it's not that kind of movie. Very, very few explosions until a little bit at the end. It's mainly fight scenes, fight choreography, but it's done very well. I mean, when they're trying to put him in jail and he's escaping from these cops, and he does this beautiful drop kick on a guy, and all the different angles that the director uses to enhance it, get a better look at it. A beautiful drop kick. There's a lot of moments like that. At the bar scene, probably my favorite sequence is the bar brawl, where just the camera's wide enough to see the whole open space and see these guys doing their work, and just Scott Adkins kicking everybody's ass. I know it sounds like a blowjob session for Scott Adkins. Well, you blow him some more. No, it's just, has he made bad films? Sure. Hard Target 2 sucked the D. It still sucks the D. Max Cloud was awful. But he's made a lot of good recent movies, and whether it be Avengement, The Debt Collectors, Undisputed 2 and 3 was good, this was good. And this guy sadly hasn't gotten his just desserts on the big screen. And sadly, I don't think he ever will. Just the thing that sucks about it. But yeah, like I said, compare with canon films, I mean, I would say like American Ninja 1 and 2, I would say they have a bit more, I don't know whether in terms of it was the budget or it felt grander scale. It felt grander scale. Maybe they got a bit more bang for their buck. And they're able to incorporate car chase sequences like Michael Dudikoff, when someone's trying to take the army truck and Michael Dudikoff gets on and gets in, and they're playing music from Chuck Norris, I think either Delta Force or Invasion USA. They were playing music from one of them because Canon Films own them all. So they reuse old music, but good music. Or like all the soldiers fighting the ninjas at the end of American Ninja 1 or American Ninja 2. Even all the people coming into the compound, grenades thrown about. So you still felt a bit of a grander scale, and the production, in a weird way, it's saying the production quality of American Ninja 1 and 2 seemed a bit higher. It just seems weird. It seems weird saying that, but that is the case, and I would say American Ninja 2 especially has a great score. Here, the musical score, forgettable, or, serviceable at the very least. The look of the film, it's fine for what it is, but like the look of the film, there's nothing that stands out. That's fine. That's why, again, it would have been nice if like Isaac Florentine and Scott Adkins worked with Tandem Films back in the 80s. So imagine this film having the look of Revenge of the Ninja, but then you get to see Scott Adkins do what he does best. That would have been a great simpatico link up. So again, I think those films have a bit of a better look and better musical score and a bit more supporting cast. I'm specifically talking about Steve James. Like this film doesn't have like a Steve James type of supporting cast. I mean, King Tasudi does fine, but I think that's not the kind of film this is though. To have that, I guess. But he said the main bread and butter of this is the Scott Adkins fight scenes. And if that doesn't interest you, then the movie's you're not going to give a shit. But if you are looking for fight scenes, if you are enjoying, I'm a sucker for well done fight sequences and action films, either gunfights or actual hand to hand fights. And when you give me enough of them throughout a film, it'll be the bare as a plot, as bare as it'd be as paper thin. It'd be anorexic of a plot. Sometimes, as an action movie fan, that's all I want is a guy I like. I like Scott Adkins. I think he's a decent actor too. I really do think he's a pretty decent actor. So he's kind of like Jeff Speakman. If Jeff Speakman did a bit more of had more speed and fluidity. And again, for all intents and purposes, Scott seems like a nice guy too. Never heard really anyone say a bad word about him. So it's just sad that he really never got the. I don't think he ever will get the credit he deserves. But if there's any guy keeping that alive as action martial arts heroes, it's Scott Adkins. Because Michael Jai White, like even Michael Jai White, he's not doing a lot of these type of movies. I mean, he's in movies, but not stuff like this. I mean, other than Blood and Bone, which I liked. I like Blood and Bone. But then, he did shit like Welcome to Sudden Death. Didn't he do one recently called The Commando or something? I don't know anything about that. But yeah, the Ninja Shadow of a Tear. It would have been nice to see him incorporate a little bit more of that ninja look. You only see that look at the very end of the film. Would have been nice to incorporate a little bit more of that ninja aspects, like the type of weapons. He uses a ninja star a few times. I mean, to be honest, you probably could have just called it Shadow of a Tear and not even have ninja attached to it. Because ninja is actually kind of little used in the movie. Again, other than maybe a ninja star here and there or something at the very, very end. Because again, it's about him going against this drug cartel, thinking that's the person that killed his wife. And it takes place at times in Burma. I know it's not called Burma. There's another name. I forget the name of it, but I think of it as Burma. And like I said, it's kind of hard to review this, but it was fun to rewatch again just to see all these kick-ass fights and beautiful movements and swift movements of kicks and punches. So at the end, there's like 3 one-on-one fights. Fights one guy's got this bolo type of weapon with barbed wire on it that tries to get around your neck. Has a fight, spoiler alert, with Tane Sudi at the end, because you find out Tane Sudi is the one that really killed his wife. And they have definitely the best fight in the movie, one-on-one. Just beautiful stuff. And Isaac Forte knows to not edit the shit out of it. He knows to have it wide enough to give these guys the full breadth of the room, to really showcase that's them doing it, and their style, and their choreography. And he doesn't do stuff to ruin it. So Isaac Florentine does a good job on that aspect. And it's one of those things where Scott Adkins was good in Day Shift. We'll love to see more of him in it. I'm curious to see what he does next. Not everyone's going to be a winner, because no one has a perfect streak so far in terms of movies, but when I see films like this, and the other films I mentioned, it makes me curious to see what he happens to go into next, because if there's anything in any one that's like the Van Damme, Seagal, Jeff Speakman era in today's age, it's Scott Adkins. And like I say, if you like those type of movies back in the day, this definitely would fit in that canon film era. But I mean, him getting multiple movies like Chuck Norris did back in the day. Like, I want to see Scott Adkins' version of Invasion USA. That'd be pretty cool. Like, Scott Adkins' version of Invasion USA. You tell him it's time to die. With those type of like Uzis and car chases and having a big old action scene in the mall. That's the thing. Like, I wish Scott Adkins films, they were able to get those bigger budgets like Invasion USA did, like Hard Target did. Because Hard Target 2 definitely didn't have it. That would be nice to see. You saw a glimpse of that in the sequence in Day Shift. I wish like Scott could star in a movie, again, like an Invasion USA type of movie with the budget that was given. But that would be nice to see, but that's not going to happen. But I would say if you like martial arts films and you're not expecting an original, detailed plot, Ninja Shower Tier, you want to see a lot of ass kicking for 80 some minutes, this is the movie for you. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.